Welcome in to the Punt Pass podcast. I'm your host, Drew Butler, joined alongside my co-host, Jake Fromm. Be sure to follow us on social media at Punt Pass on Twitter and Instagram. I am at Drew Butler. He is at Fromm Jake. Puntandpass.com, the number one destination for all things college football. Hope you had an awesome Christmas weekend. Happy holidays to everyone. Jake, this week is like no man's land in corporate America. Both of the big holidays, Christmas and New Year's, fall on a Sunday this year. So it's like Mondays are the federal holidays. People are shutting it down on Fridays. Dude, nobody's working this week. We're so fired up for bowl week. You're still in the thick of the NFL season, week 17 coming up. The Commanders still in playoff contention. How are you, brother?
Dude, doing great, man. We're right in the middle of it, in the thick of it. It's kind of put up or shut up time right now for a bunch of NFL teams, but excited for the holidays. Obviously, Christmas was great. Me and my wife decided it was a great idea to go to the mall yesterday, had an off day. It was
madness.
Packed. It was absolutely madness. Everybody going, returning, trying to get deals. But other than that, getting to the week, excited for some bowl season, and we got some great games coming up.
No question. A popular thing, one of them went viral before Christmas. A popular thing in NFL locker rooms is like the gifting exchanges. Did you see any great gift exchanges? Were you a part of any great gift exchanges? Talk to me about that.
Yeah, they can get pretty cool, pretty creative. Depends. It's really kind of cool to see how the quarterback on each team kind of just takes care of his guys. Basically, Josh Allen was really cool. Got the guys some cool scooters. I think Zach Wilson also did something similar as well. But the Qs here, Carson and Taylor, got our guys some like Wagyu steaks.
Oh, nice.
It's off the charts. Wish I was a part of that, honestly.
You didn't get any?
Great. Nah, that would have been great to grill up. But yeah, I mean, it's some stuff's really cool. And then when I was in New York with the Giants last year, we had a full team Secret Santa gift exchange.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah, I mean, all over the locker room was a big ordeal.
Was there a salary cap on the gift, or was it just like free for all?
Normally they kind of give a range. It's like had to be at least $500 or something. So you're getting some pretty cool gifts, and you want to do a good job because you don't just want to go below $500. I mean, obviously some guys can, but you want to give something good and meaningful. Yeah, if you're putting that much kind of work and effort and funds behind it as well.
Did you see what Derwin James did, the safety for the Los Angeles Chargers?
No.
Okay, Derwin James, who got kicked out of the game last night for a hit on, I forget who the wide receiver was, but he absolutely laid some dude out in Monday Night Football. He is a missile. He went to Florida State. He's been injured for the past couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
He gifted every DB and defensive coach in the DB room a Rolex Datejust watch. And then the DBs also got a customized diamond necklace of their numbers. My childhood best friend, Tommy Donatel, is the secondary coach for the Chargers. And he sent us a picture, said Merry Christmas to me. And he got a very, very nice Rolex watch.
Dude, that's
pretty sick.
That is pretty sick. I had just because you were talking about, remind me of it. The receiver room in Buffalo got their receivers coach. They all pitched in and got him
Chad Hall.
They all pitched in and got him a brand new F-250.
That is crazy.
It wasn't this year. It may have been last year or the year before.
It was last year.
Yeah. Got him an F-250, bro. And obviously Steph was the ringleader behind it. Had Emmanuel Sanders in the room too. So and then Cole Beasley. So there's a lot of kind of vet guys in there. We had some funds to pull from, but man, talk about get somebody a truck.
Yeah.
That is a big deal.
Yeah, the reason I say Chad Hall, that's Matthew Stafford's brother-in-law. That's Matthew's wife's brother. Chad was a great football player at Air Force, got some Heisman love, and then he had a career in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles. The reason I brought that up is because if any of your teammates, Jake, still needed to get a Christmas gift or even a New Year gift, you need to tell them to head to Solomon Brothers. I mean, there's no better place to get custom jewelry or even very nice watches for anybody you please other than Solomon Brothers Jewelers, all they'd have to do is either go to solomonbrothers.com, check them out on social media at Solomon Brothers. And if they go into one of their 2 amazing locations, both in Atlanta, one in Buckhead, 17th floor Tower Place, the other in Alpharetta, just past the Avalon, they can mention Punt Pass or you, Jake Fromm, or myself, and get 10% off their jewelry purchase. You can do that too. That's for anybody that listens to Punt and Pass. Solomon Brothers is the largest diamond and jewelry inventory in the Southeast. They got the lowest prices on the highest quality jewelry and diamonds guaranteed, and also a very nice watch selection. Head on into one of those 2 awesome locations. Check them out on social media at Solomon Brothers, solomonbrothers.com. All right, man. New Year's Eve is right around the corner. It is officially bowl week. There's like 5 games on today, which is awesome. And it just keeps getting better and better and better as the week goes on. Of course, Saturday's New Year's Eve. That's when the 2 college football playoff semifinal games are coming up. And how I wanted to start out, first down will be just bowl week prep from a college football playoff perspective. And Jake, the reason I ask is because when I was in college, the college football playoff was not happening. And the bowl week was really a celebration of the season, right? There was no more games past that. You were around the other team. Your family was in town. Hopefully you were in a cool spot like Orlando, Florida, or New Orleans, or Miami, where you could enjoy yourself for the first couple of days. But specifically for Georgia and your past experience in the Rose Bowl game in a semifinal, I want to know what the week is like, because you have to be locked in. Hopefully you still have football to play after this game.
Yeah, you definitely get to see the maturity level of your team and what your team is built and made of during this week, because you have to have the maturity to be able to say, hey, I'm going to go in, I'm going to work during this time block, during this schedule, and then I'm going to go enjoy myself and enjoy the week when you get it off. And there's laser focus. Kirby is dialed up to 1,000. He's ready to go. He wishes the game was tomorrow. But throughout the week, they're trying. He basically plays it all off as all the bowl fun and games that they try to get you, events that they try to get you to go to. He's like, oh, that's just distractions. That's just distractions. And so he's just all about ball the entire week, and just honestly wishes it was nothing but practice in the game, and that's it.
Yeah, it's interesting. Obviously you guys were in Pasadena. I remember you took the
Uh-huh.
double-decker 747 jet out there. There was like official Georgia transportation too for fans to get out into Hollywood, LA, enjoy the whole sights and scenes. Obviously, you guys want to go out there and take advantage of it. I mean, the
Yeah.
first couple days, light work, get into the game plan, make sure everybody's in okay shape after the holiday, but then it's time to buckle down. This week, it's a little bit different for Georgia. They're right in their backyard in Atlanta. They took buses over from Athens. I'm sure the creature comforts are all pretty familiar with what's happening, but is there any time, or did you guys at least have any time, those first 2 nights of a bowl week? Usually the curfew's a little bit later. Guys
Yeah.
who are
Yeah.
older can go out, kind of get away, enjoy themselves somewhat. You would have to think that might be a little bit different with a semifinal game just a few days away.
Yeah, no, for sure. That curfew, like you mentioned, just gets dialed back an hour, like each night. And Gant, if you guys know Gant, who
Yes,
works for the
yes.
team, he is working his butt off right now and this week. And then I'm so curious on, we'll hear about it after the fact, but it being in Atlanta, to me, I think it could either be the best thing that ever happened or the worst thing that ever happened, because of the familiarity with the place. Because, oh, I'm good, I don't need to go see that because I live here.
Yeah.
I've seen it before. Or, oh, hey, I know my homeboy is here, here, and here, and let's go hit up these few places. So just I hope the guys are mature this week and really lock in and take care of business, because it's a really big week, and you do not get these opportunities. It just does not
Yeah.
happen, man. It takes the entire year of work to be able to get back and in the spot and have this opportunity.
No doubt. I'm looking at the actual schedule for the Peach Bowl right now. Last night, the battle for the bowl week dinner took place. I'm sure a lot of people saw they did like a team versus team family feud, which looked fun. Everybody was at the College Football Hall of Fame. It gets competitive. There's great camaraderie. I believe
Yeah.
Georgia won that family feud
Nice.
competition. So go Dogs there. Today, they had practice. Then they each went to a Children's Healthcare of Atlanta location. The teams did, and went and visited some of the patients. That's always fun. Then they went and did the Martin Luther King Jr. tour and visit. And then tonight, though, is a basketball challenge. Now, I'm a little bit confused as to how this
Yeah,
is going to go
how
down. I'm sure Kirby and Ryan Day are sitting there going, is this really happening a couple of days before a semifinal game? And then tomorrow they're going to go-kart racing at Andretti Indoor Karting. So I don't
dang,
know. I mean, that's
go-kart, that and the basketball, possibly.
basketball. What are we
Possibly,
doing?
it has to be horse or some kind of
Okay.
dead duck, gotcha kind of game. Got to be something like that. Going back to my experiences with the Rose Bowl, it was kind of cool. We got to go to walk around, ride a few rides at Disneyland.
Cool.
That was pretty neat. We went to like Lowry's, had a nice like prime rib dinner at a place that was pretty cool. I mean, we were out in Hollywood, got to see a few things, which was pretty neat. But yeah, hope none of the fellas get hurt playing basketball.
Yeah,
That'd be dumb.
you would certainly hope so. There's so much anticipation for this specific matchup. Obviously, it's strength on strength with Georgia's defense going up against Ohio State's offense. A lot of news out of Ohio State's camp. Jackson Smith and Jigba obviously not playing. Travion Henderson, he's injured, so he's not playing either. But CJ Stroud, Marvin Harrison Jr., Iboka, the other wide receiver,
Yeah.
Mayan Williams, like they have got some straight up dudes. I'm going to ask you a question in a little bit, and we'll kind of dive in to the preview of the game. That's for later on this week's big time episode, breaking down the college football playoff. But I guess when you're around these guys, I mean, Stetson was with CJ Stroud the entire week when they were at the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Is it a mutual respect? I mean, you guys were there with Baker Mayfield and an unbelievable Oklahoma team. Are you getting to know one another? Or is it kind of business as usual? Hey, we have to be around each other, shake hands, nod heads, and just go about your business.
Yeah, my personal experiences, they've always been I mean, not like super familiar. I mean, they've been formal, okay?
Yeah.
Whereas,
You're not getting
hey,
in fights at Family Feud.
no, gosh, no, you're not doing that. There's a mutual respect there. But me personally, I've never been one to go be buddy with the opposing safety, defensive end, and cornerbacks or anything like that. So, no, I mean, you go around them. We saw them at Disneyland. You know, everybody be posseed up in their groups. You know, be like, hey guys, what's up? We'll see you later. But yeah, no, nothing crazy about how you would expect.
Yeah. Do you think there's any advantage for Georgia having made the college football playoff in the fashion that they did a year ago? Meaning they were undefeated. They rolled into Atlanta, the SEC championship game, and got absolutely smacked around by Alabama, brought back down to earth, still made it to the playoff. Kind of that new lease on life, right? I mean, I remember there was an interview where Kirby Smart was asked, what was the locker room like after the SEC championship game last year? And he was like, you know what? It was actually great because we just put it under the rug and said, we're moving forward. We'll know where we stand in the college football playoff. Ohio State is essentially in that exact same position, right?
100%.
They were undefeated heading into the last week of the season. They got smacked around, physically outmatched by Michigan. A little bit worried that they were still going to get in. The chips fell the right way. Now Ohio State's in the college football playoff, clean slate, new lease on life. Hey, let's go burn the ships and see what happens. Some might say they'd be a little bit worried because Ohio State has that kind of mentality, but I would say Georgia knows what that mentality is like, so they might know how to combat it.
Yeah, I fully agree with what you're saying here. But I think the difference is last year, Georgia knew they deserved to be in there. And therefore, hey, look, we're going to put it on the rug. We know where we can go. We know what we can be, and we're going to go take care of business. Here with Ohio State, I think maybe they feel like they're happy to be here. Just happy to get the chance, happy to get the opportunity. Because I think after that game versus Michigan, they don't quite know that they deserve to be in there, and rather than just being happy to be there.
Yeah, that's great perspective. There's no doubt about it. Last question about bowl week in general. I'm seeing a lot of griping and moaning from media members this week because player availability is there. Media members can actually go see practice now for the first time in like 2 years. Granted, it's only 15 minutes per practice, but these are new times. You're allowed into the stadium. I don't know where Ohio State's practicing. I think they might both be practicing inside Mercedes-Benz, but they're griping and moaning about the answers that they're getting from players, right? It's like almost the Bill Belichick school of media. We're on to Ohio State. We're on to Georgia. We're just focused on the task at hand. We've got a lot of respect for them. They're not getting anything really juicy that they can write about as a starting quarterback, having gone through a media circus, quite literally what you had to deal with year in and year out at your time at Georgia. What's it like on bowl week, man? And you're like, guys, what more is there to ask me? You've talked to me for 15 weeks straight. You ask me the same questions every week. Like, what is that situation like? You just want to somewhat enjoy the bowl week and not have to keep answering the same questions over and over.
Yeah, so I remember there is a lot of opportunities you have during the week to speak to media. So everything really just gets super repetitive. And it's no fault to the players, so don't get mad at them because I'm going to give you everything without giving you anything.
Yeah, exactly.
That was just my personal motto, and just hey, I'm going to say everything you want to hear, but also I'm not going to give you really anything to write home about. So hey, look, man, Kirby's got those guys trained. The message he is top two and not two at messaging to the team, to the players, and to the fan base. Does a fantastic job with messaging, with culture, and the evidence of it here now with players talking to the media.
Yeah. You know, if I was a credentialed member of the media and like understanding that you guys are getting asked the same exact questions every single week and like, this is it, the time is done. I would have been in this week and been like, hey, was Christmas good? Yeah. If you could replace one gift that you got, what was that gift and what gift did you not receive? You know, like something like make you think a little bit, get you on your toes, not exactly football. And then maybe if we have a good laugh, a little giggle, then I could ask you a hard hitting football question and maybe you're more apt to respond.
Absolutely, man.
Right. I'm
hopefully,
learning.
hopefully you're not going to get me anytime soon.
No gotcha questions for Jake Fromm here on the Punt and Pass podcast. Good perspective, though, because I wonder that. I mean, look, when we were in New Orleans for the Sugar Bowl, I was a freshman. Pretty notoriously, Georgia and Hawaii both had a very, very good time that weekend. Bourbon Street was rocking. Georgia obviously took care of business in a big, big way. Not too much to do in Shreveport, Louisiana. That was not exactly the most fun. Memphis was sneaky fun, though, for the Liberty Bowl. I mean, Beale Street can be fun. Weather was horrible. And then the Citrus Bowl and Outback Bowl. Those are your usual suspects. Like you said, theme parks, amusement rides, SeaWorld, go have a nice dinner, stuff like that. But the season was over. There was nothing in front of that or behind that game. So that mentality is just totally, totally different. Jake Fromm, he's been there. He's done that. So take care of business and then you get to play one more week. We'll, of course, break that down when the Dogs hopefully make it to the national championship. All right, let's head to second down. In order for Georgia to make it to the national championship, it's clear they're going to have to slow down Ohio State's offense. This is going to be a pretty open-ended question because I want to have a little bit of a conversation here. So much is being made about C.J. Stroud, Ohio State's passing attack. Georgia, I guess, is vulnerable in the back end of their defense. Look what LSU did. I mean, that's what everybody's pointing to because it was the last game that they played. My question to you is not what's the most important segment of Georgia's defense heading into this matchup, but what will be the most impactful segment of Georgia's defense if they want to find success against Ohio State?
To me, it is because it's cause and effect here. Okay. So for me, it's the defensive line and the blitz packages they come up with. Because I think they're going to have to bring 5, get pressure on CJ Stroud. Just saw a stat, something where he's over 70% from a clean pocket and 40% or less under pressure. So they're going to want to get to him. Similar thing they did with Tennessee and Hendon Hooker. So they're going to want to get to the quarterback. The defensive line has to be able to impact the game and basically take some off for the back half for the defensive backs and make their job easier. Because I don't think they did it in short spurts in that LSU game, but obviously it wasn't quite as good as it should or could have been because the LSU Tigers threw for 500 yards, which is mind-boggling to me.
I know.
But I think it's the defensive line. I think Jalen Carter, hey, bud, this is your game. You want to be the number 1 overall pick? This is your game.
When you talk about pressuring the quarterback, collapsing the pocket, what's worse? Edge rushers just screaming pass tackles or your centers and guards just getting thrown right into your lap?
Dude.
For a guy like CJ Stroud, who's not exactly mobile, I mean, he can get outside the pocket, but it's not like he is a scoot and run, tuck the ball, and get down the field type guy. What pressure do you not want if you're a
Yeah,
quarterback?
man. So I go back and I immediately think about playing Alabama and then playing Auburn. Auburn with Derek Brown, Alabama with their list of guys that they've had. But look, you can, if it's edge pressure, you can step up in the pocket. But when you go to step up in the pocket and that interior of the pocket is in your face, and you feel like you're suffocating because there's nothing you can do to really get out of it. You're trying to step up and make a throw, and you can't get all of it into the throw because there's somebody in your lap. Nobody likes a 350-pound man in your lap.
No,
That is not
I
that is
I
not
would agree
a
with you. I would agree
that
with
is
you.
that is not a comfortable feeling. I remember going back way back, first third down in the national championship game. Arguably, we have a touchdown. I have a touchdown. I have a fade ball, Javon Wims, left side of the field, but I couldn't step into the throw. Got hit when I threw it because of the interior pressure of the pocket. Yeah, and the ball
He
gets
was open.
juggled.
Was he just running downfield open?
Yeah, he's running downfield open. I get hit as a throw. Ball, this is a play Javon's made 1,000 times, but he shouldn't have had to stop and go up for it. But ball gets jugged, gets picked off, and now it's their ball
Oh,
going the other way. So, man, the interior of the pocket is huge, and it's detrimental to the success of the quarterback.
so how does Ohio State scheme for that? Because the easy comparison to make, and what a lot of people are talking about, is how Michigan just out physicaled them, right? Michigan got a
Yeah.
couple of really big plays on the ground. Then they started to open it up through the passing game, and they blew Ohio State out. And people were quick to say, Michigan dominated in the trenches. Ohio State didn't have an answer. Ohio State is not built for that type of ball. Now, what I would say is clearly Ohio State is not going into this game saying, hey, we're going to muck this game up, make it nasty, and go try to beat Georgia at the game that they play. I always say this: the blueprint to beat Georgia is out there. It is the SEC championship game from a year ago. Get the ball out quick. Perimeter players in space. Do not let the defensive line or that front seven be that impactful. And Alabama ran it to perfection. Would you expect Ohio State to take the pressure off their interior offensive line by doing simply that?
Yeah, I do. I think they're going to watch a lot of that Alabama game, like you mentioned. Shifts, motions, get guys moving, eye discipline, eye candy all over the place, dink and dunking down the field, get those guys tired. And after they put a drive together, then you'll see them go and take their shot. But I don't see them coming out on the first set of downs and taking shots early. But as they get the drive going, just kind of be on the edge of your seat, kind of waiting. All right, man, they put together a drive. Get ready. They're about to take a shot here because that's what they want to do. That's what CJ Stroud wants to do. They have the guys to do it. So they're going to go and they're going to take those shots, but they're going to want to get a few plays and a drive going before they do so.
A lot of pressure is going to be on Georgia's secondary. And you just said it best. The most impactful segment will be the defensive line, because if they do their job and they get up in CJ Stroud's face and create pressure, it will make the jobs of the secondary that much easier. Malachi Starks, Javon Bullard, Keely Ringo is going to have a big target on his back. Everybody's down on Keely for some reason that I really just can't understand. People even tell me Keely's not that good. Look, people, he will be a first-round pick, okay? Go back to the Tennessee game, right? Jalen Hyatt, the Bolitnikoff Award winner, unanimous All-American. Keely was on him the entire game, and he was a non-factor. Now, why? Because the defensive line was so disruptive in that game. What does Keely have to do to essentially tell the naysayers, hey, I'm not who you think I am. I'm much better than that?
Yeah, I think just trust his technique. And then during this kind of bowl prep they've had, they've really gone back and taught technique and really looked at the fundamentals. A lot more we call individual periods on really focusing on technique, because these are more camp style practices getting ready for this bowl game. So he's had an opportunity to go and work on his craft. For him, it's trusting his technique, get his head around, find the ball, make a play on the ball.
Yeah, bowl weeks, it's all ball, man. No class. You are locked into the game plan. Obviously, there's some extracurriculars that happen when you get to the location of the bowl game. But Jake just told you, for a playoff game, for a semifinal, when there's football on the other side of it, if you have success, these guys are ready to go. I just think the biggest difference, Jake, and this is my opinion, between what could be compared to like Tennessee for this offense that Georgia's going to go up against, is that Tennessee was so much about tempo. Tennessee was a lot more of that quick game kind of opportunity and then open up a big play downfield to somebody like a Cedric Tillman or a Jalen Hyatt. I haven't seen that from Ohio State. Their deep balls and their offensive air attack is much more developed. Receivers
Mhm.
like Harrison are running downfield. Yeah, there might be a little bit of eye candy underneath. They like to try to get some of the run game going. I think that plays into Georgia's favor. Tell
I
me
think
if I'm
so.
wrong, but I think that
Yeah.
plays into Georgia's favor.
I think one of the kind of sneaky things you said was that they try to get their run game going. That's something I've seen them watching as I'm clicking through the channels and watching Ohio State play. Like you got CJ Stroud and all these weapons, but they're actively trying to run the football because they
Yeah.
know that's going to help that passing game open up and help the flow of the game. So um, they're going to try to do that. I think that's going to be insanely tough for them to be able to get that going. So it's going to put a lot of pressure on the passing game. They got and those guys going. And I think if the defensive line, again, it's just coming back to those guys, if they do their job, take care of it, stop the run, and then look, they don't have to to blitz and get there in 2.5 seconds. But if they can get there in less than 5 seconds, and where he's just not back there patting the ball, look, man, that's a win,
Yeah.
and it'd be good for the defensive backs, and good for the defense.
I think you're right. Call me crazy, but let's just go through one thing and then we're going to move on to the next topic. Week 1. This is a long time ago. Okay.
Yeah,
Ohio
do it.
State
Yeah.
21-10 against Notre Dame. Not exactly a top tier victory that they were hoping to get against a high quality opponent. Then they play Michigan State. Michigan State hung around for a little bit. Ohio State broke away 49-20. Penn State 44-31, right? That game was at Penn State. 31 points from Penn State's offense. Northwestern 21-7. That's it. I mean, look, I know Georgia struggled against Kent State. I know Georgia struggled against Missouri. And then, of course, the Maryland game. I mean, they were in it till late in the fourth quarter. That was the second to last week of the season. And then they play Michigan in Columbus at home and get blown out 45-23. So maybe there was a reason Ohio State was outside the top 4 before a lot of things happened for their favor to get into the college football playoff. I'm just saying, everybody's buying into this new lease on life. 6.5 is a lot of points. That is a big spread, Jake. But the total, 62.5, that could be in jeopardy because if this turns into a shootout, I think I might like Georgia even more in that spot because Georgia's offense, man, they can put points on the board in a hurry.
Man, watching those guys play in the SEC, if you would have told me that the offense is going to score 50 points in that game, I would have said, hey, look, man, look, they have the ability to, but no way. And they did it. I mean, after every drive, they answered, moved the ball. And man, Stetson's played really well in these big time games late in the season.
Yeah, yes.
The offense is playing with a lot of swag, a lot of confidence right now. So I just say good luck.
Yeah, no doubt. Georgia has that switch, man. They turn it on for the big games. They are battle tested. They know what weeks like this entail. That's not to say Ohio State doesn't. Points per game, almost identical. Ohio State 44.5, Georgia 39.2. Points allowed per game, Ohio State 19.3, Georgia 12.8. They are very, very evenly matched across the board. Total yards per game, Ohio State 492, Georgia 492. Be a good game, man. We're going to break that down big time later on in the week. A lot to still read, a lot to still digest. Bowl week is in its infancy. We'll see what happens. What you got to wrap us up here on this one?
Man, I think that I'm just looking at the past couple years. I mean, and one has really kind of beat up on the 4 the last couple years. And so I think there's a gap there. Going back to what I said earlier, I think Ohio State is happy to be here, but I don't think they deserve to be here.
In the college football playoff era, I believe the first year was 2014. Only 3 times has the 1 seed faced off against the 2 seed in the national championship game. And guess what's crazy about that? All 3 times it was Alabama versus Clemson. It's pretty interesting. I found that out.
Wow.
Earlier today. Did you see the Will Muschamp quote
no.
that he had yesterday? Because, the last time Georgia played Ohio State, the only time these 2 teams have ever played was 1992 or 93 in the Citrus Bowl. Herbstreit was the quarterback for Ohio State, and Will Muschamp was a DB on that team. So somebody asked him during media availability yesterday or today, what was that week like? And this is what Will Muschamp said, quote, We had a luncheon, and Kirk Herbstreit got up to throw a pass across the room. I knew we had a shot to win right then. Make sure he knows I said that. It's pretty funny. Pretty funny.
That's
So
awesome.
nice little gamesmanship from Coach Muschamp taking a shot at College Game Day host and color analyst for the Peach Bowl, Kirk Herbstreit. Good stuff.
That's awesome.
All right, let's break down some bowl games real quick. It's third down. We'll wrap this thing up pretty quick. Tomorrow night, the Holiday Bowl. You and I have talked about this one a pretty good bit. Oregon against UNC, excuse me. Bo Nix for Oregon, Drake May for North Carolina. Two offenses that can light it up. North Carolina's defense, not good whatsoever. Oregon, making a lot of headlines. Big time on signing day. Bo Nix is coming back. Dude, Oregon's a 13.5-point favorite. This should be a good game to watch tomorrow night.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that they're that big of a favorite, but I still like Oregon in this one. I think both teams.
UNC's defense is horrible.
So both teams are without their offensive coordinators.
That's right. I didn't think about that.
I think North Carolina is without their primary receiver. I believe that's what Sam Howell told me today.
Yes. Josh Downs is not playing.
Yep.
Right.
And then I'm looking at it on paper, and I'm like, North Carolina's defense is historically atrocious, and so I think there's a lot of swag, a lot of good vibes going on in Oregon, and so even it's a huge spread, I still like Oregon in this one.
Yeah, the total 75 points in that game. That will be a fun one to watch. The Texas Bowl is Thursday. Number 20 Texas taking on number 12 Washington. This would be a really good one too. Texas is a 3-point favorite. Michael Penix Jr., Quinn Ewers, the Texas Bowl, which I believe is in San Antonio. That should be a good one. You know, Steve Sarkisian, he needs to get a W on the board. But Kalen DeBoer and this Washington team, I know they're out there in the Pac-12. Sneaky number 12 team. This should be a good game.
Dude, I kind of like this one too. I like Washington. They played Oregon and they beat them at home. And so I really like Washington in this one just because I think the pressure just gets too big for Texas a little bit at times.
Oklahoma takes on I think I like Texas in that game. I'm going to go against you. I like Texas in San Antonio. You know, no shots. This is a ricochet shot, but they got up for that Georgia game against the Sugar Bowl a couple years ago. So I think maybe they could find some success. Maybe ride the coattails off that one. I don't think anybody's still on the team from that game. I'm sorry, Jake, I had to do that to you. But I like Texas in this game. I'll lay the 3.
If they win, they're definitely due for a "we're back" comment.
Yes, they certainly are. Sure. No doubt. We'll expect that for sure. The Cheez-It Bowl is also Thursday night. Oklahoma 6-6, disaster of a season in Brent Venables' first year. A lot of injuries, but still, that's not acceptable. Taking on number 13, Florida State.
13
is in Orlando. Florida State's 9-3. Jordan Travis coming back next year. A lot of good vibes in Tallahassee as well. Florida State is a 9.5-point favorite.
I like Florida State. Honestly, surprised that this is even a matchup. Honestly, I thought Florida State maybe would have gotten someone as nicely as I could say this and respectfully as I could say this, somebody a little bit better of an opponent than maybe Oklahoma.
I know.
And so, man, Florida State all the way. If you would have told me they would be as good of a football team they are at the end of the season as they are right now, I would have said there's no way because it was a debacle there.
I know. I totally agree with you. And they're going to have a lot of love heading into 2023, especially with all the talent they had coming back. They had a good recruiting class as well. Mike Norvell turned it around. Huge credit to the administration there for just sticking with them for a little bit longer to see what he can build. But you're talking about 2 blue blood college football programs kicking off in the Cheez-It Bowl. Oklahoma against Florida State. We both like Florida State there. All right, Notre Dame taking on South Carolina. This one's Friday afternoon. I'm sure we'll record our next podcast before then, but I want to talk about it here. Number 21 Notre Dame, number 19 South Carolina. This game's in Jacksonville at the Gator Bowl. You know, the president or the CEO of the Gator Bowl is Greg McGarity. This line is Notre Dame, a 2-point favorite.
Dude,
you like South Carolina. I know you do.
The magic going on with the Beam team right now and the South Carolina Gamecocks. I mean, beat Tennessee 63-38, then beat Clemson 31-30 in a game that if they win, I mean, they're borderline in the college football playoff.
I know.
So I like South Carolina, man.
Yeah, if Tennessee won that game, they are in the college football playoff. I think that's full stop. I think there's no doubt about that. Yeah.
Tennessee wins out. I think they're in the college football playoff. And so they beat 2 college
I
football
know.
playoff
Oh, you're
teams.
talking about Clemson. Yes, yes. I forgot about that. Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
I
exactly.
mean, even Clemson, because they would have been a one loss and a conference champion. Okay, so you can
Yeah,
argue that they would have
100%.
completely pulled the flip
100%.
on Ohio State. So they beat two quote unquote college football playoff contender teams there to finish up the season. And you're telling me that they're not the favorite against Notre Dame?
Take those
Come on,
points.
man.
Take those points. Dude, there's a great Beamer, and I like Coach Beamer a lot. He has a quote, it was in an interview, and they were kind of asking him about his season, like expectations, and he has this statistic, and it's great because it's one that I would totally give out. He's like, people seem to forget that for the first time in South Carolina history, and I think maybe even college football history, it's like he says, we beat two top 5 teams by a margin of, like, it's the craziest stat you could ever think of. That sports information director dialed that one up, checked the records book, just fed it to Coach Beamer and said, repeat this, repeat this, repeat this. Because what they did, like you just said, was pretty unprecedented. I mean, Tennessee was a freight train, and they just completely wrecked them. And then they turned around and beat their in-state rival for the first time in 8 years, 2 teams that were on their way to the college football playoff. And Clemson beat both of them in great fashion. I got to find out what that statistic is, but it's like ridiculously hilarious because it's so specific, but they did it. So props to them.
Now they are definitely cocky right now.
Yes, they are.
They're definitely cocky right now. I hope they don't get humbled in this game, but they're due a humbling soon.
That's awesome. You know what? I have Notre Dame -2 written down, but I'm going to roll with you. Give me South Carolina. Take those points.
Come on, baby.
You know what? That's such a square play. Higher ranked team getting points, 2 great victories. Like the sharp play is Notre Dame, but I'm going to ride with my guy, Jake Fromm.
Right.
Last one that I want to touch on, and it's not even about the game, but it's the Barstool Bowl. Okay. This one's in Tucson.
Bowl.
It's Ohio versus Wyoming. Now, the reason I want to bring this up is because Barstool actually broadcasts the game. I think it's like barstool.tv. They had their own college basketball invitational, I want to say around Thanksgiving weekend. And I was like making dinner, and I put it on my laptop with my AirPods in, and their broadcast, Jake, was hilarious. It really was.
That's true, yeah.
They've got a real play-by-play guy who's on staff there. Big Cat and Prez are the 2 color analysts. The way that they broadcast the game, for anybody that's listening to this podcast who maybe enjoys how we deliver college football news and notes to you, or just wants something different if you're at home watching a bowl game, this is it. I was listening to a podcast. Big Cat was talking about how he was going to jump out of a plane to deliver the coin for the coin flip, but he had to get certified and jump out of a plane like 30 times. Like, not going to do that. They've got Barstool personalities like singing the national anthem, running out to pick up the kickoff tee. They talk about gambling all throughout the broadcast. They have the coaches hooked up so they can ask the coaches questions during the game. It's like the new age of broadcasting. I'm telling you right now, if you want to be entertained, be sure to tune into the Barstool Bowl, regardless of what you think of them from a brand perspective or whatever. I'm just telling you, highly entertaining, must-watch, new age broadcast of what should be like a weekly alternative broadcasting type deliverable for college football fans.
Yeah, the whole you're exactly right. The whole time while you're talking, I'm like, look, as much as they maybe want to come off as a joke or they're having fun, dude, watch out, because a lot of these different ideas and schemes that they're doing is going to show up here in the next couple of years. So,
dude, it's so funny. The basketball one, I forget who the head coach was for the basketball team, but he had no hair, he bald, right? So they get him on, and he's got the AirPod in, and the game is going on. I mean, he's literally coaching, like, you know, zone, get back, like talking to his guys. And they're like, hey, coach, when did you finally commit to just completely shaving your head? Like, that's the question that they're asking him as the game is going on. And the coach literally answers, have you seen what kind of defense we're playing? I couldn't grow hair if I tried. Like, that's what these coaches are saying in the middle of a game. Dude, it is hilarious. You're like, this is great. It's so funny. It's so much different. It's exactly what you would want if you're just bored, wanting to watch the game in a different light.
Oh my gosh, this is taking me back.
Could you imagine? Hold on. Could you imagine Kirby doing something like that?
I mean, dude, okay, that's exactly where I was going with this. It's just taking me back to college when we'd be up on somebody, and you know, my time was done. Backup goes in, and I have the headset on, and just the stuff that gets said on the headset. What a grown man says to another grown man
Oh God.
is
Yeah.
just mind-boggling. There should be a Netflix documentary on it. There's no way that they'll sign off on that but that is it's just it's hilarious to me. So if they get the right person to do it, man, it's I'm sure it's funny, hilarious, and a great time.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna check that out. That game is Friday at 4:30 p.m. And again, it's on I think like barstool.tv or something like that. So it'll be fun. Both seasons here, dude. It's the best. And this week is the best too, because like I said, as the show opened, nobody's working this week. I mean, let's be honest. If you want to be the hero and you're going into the office, hopefully you're listening to Punt and Pass while you're in the office, while you're driving to the office. You know nobody's going to be there. So you can fire up our YouTube channel, turn it up to 11, and have yourself a good time. Who do you guys play this weekend?
We play the Cleveland Browns. And
Nick Chubb.
Yeah, good to see Nick. But the weather change in these 2 weekends. Okay, last Sunday there were teams playing outside in the teens and in the single digits. And then here now this Sunday, the high is like 62 degrees.
Oh, really?
Mind-boggling how bipolar the weather is. So
did you see the video? The Bills had to stay the night on Saturday in Chicago because the weather was so bad in Buffalo. Speaking of Barstool has a bar in River North. They opened it up for the Buffalo Bills on Christmas Eve. Really cool move. But the videos of them getting back to their cars and how completely embanked in snow their cars were. I mean, it's insane, dude. Buffalo is like a different world. It's like Siberia up there, and better than anybody.
Oh yeah, if for the guys listening, if you haven't seen those videos, please look it up because it is insane. They are digging their vehicles out of what looks like 10, 15 foot deep of snow. I'm talking guys are driving off with 6 foot of snow on top of their vehicles. And this isn't a baby car. Okay, we're talking this is SUVs, this is trucks.
Like a Denali Tahoe, yes.
Oh yeah. So man, Buffalo is crazy. The lake effect snow is the real deal. And watch out because it's dangerous. It's dangerous.
No question. No question. Well, hope you had a great Christmas, my man. Hope everybody had a great holiday out there. It's New Year's time. It's bowl week. There's no better way to dial it up than listening to Punt and Pass. If you want to make it extra special as well for you and yours, head on over to Solomon Brothers Jewelers. Make it the most special New Year's Eve, New Year's Day yet. Check out one of their 2 amazing locations. One is in Alpharetta, just past the Avalon. The other in Buckhead, 17th floor, Tower Place. Solomon Brothers has the biggest selection, the best quality, the lowest prices, and an in-store experience that is totally unmatched. You can check them out online too, solomonbrothers.com. Before you head into the store, you know exactly what they have. You can navigate the showroom floor perfectly, even grab yourself a nice cocktail. They got full bars in both locations. And at Solomon Brothers on Instagram and Twitter, mention Punt and Pass or myself or Jake, you can get 10% off your jewelry purchase. Anything on the way out, brother?
Man, no, I was just thinking it's never too late to throw that last second Hail Mary for a Christmas present for someone. Or, hey, if you didn't really get what you wanted, man, go get you a nice timepiece. Get you a watch, bro.
No doubt. The best for sure. All right, check us out on YouTube. Rate, review, and subscribe there. Be sure to rate, review, and subscribe the podcast. We are at Punt and Pass on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at Drew Butler. He is at From Jake. We will talk to you later on this week to preview the college football playoff semifinal games. See ya.
We out.